What's good, guys? Today we're going to be talking about simple interest. This is a really important financial mathematics concept, and the earlier you kind of understand how it works, the more money you'll make in your lifetime, I guarantee it. So we firstly got to talk about what is interest, and we might have seen this word a couple of times. So sometimes on your bank statements, if you go through your bank, it might say you've made 32 cents of interest in the last quarter or something like that. And that kind of concept, even though it's such a small amount of money, does kind of become really important later on. You might even hear about interest rates when we're talking about mortgages or car loans. Your parents might have one or something like that. And straight after school, you are going to need to know about this, because car loans especially really want young people to take out these interest-heavy loans. Other ways you might have heard about it is in like the stock market or shares, or even if you're invested in crypto and think that that's a viable financial mathematics kind of avenue, you might have heard of staking crypto, and this is still about this interest idea. The last one is you might have heard about the interest rates on the news. Everyone's always talking about them, so they must be kind of important. So what is it? It's basically the cost of using somebody else's money. Okay, and we're going to see that in a couple of examples. So when we're talking about our bank statements or our shares, we're talking about earning interest. We're making money for not really doing anything, and we'll see how that works. So when you put your cash into the bank, you physically don't have that anymore. That is in the bank, and the bank now has extra money. But they don't just let that money sit there. They use it. It doesn't just hang around there until you want to take it out of your bank account, even though you can take it out whenever you want. The bank is always doing stuff with that money, and they're doing things that are going to help them grow their business. So they potentially might spend some of this money on ads. They might spend it on more stores, or they might even invest in small companies as well. So while the amount of money you have in there isn't that much, because everyone's putting their money together, the bank can use this to grow their business, which means that they're going to make more money. So from these avenues that they're outlaying costs, the ads might bring in more customers. More stores might bring in more customers. Their investments in other companies might make them a profit, so this money can come back in. So instead of $1 going out, they're getting $2 coming back in. So the bank here has made heaps more extra cash. So then when you go to look at your bank statement and you've got this interest, okay, the bank's paying you a little bit extra because they've grown their business and they've been using your money to do it. So your initial $3 that you put in, or 3 little cash signs I've put in, comes back to you as, instead of 3, you might have 4. So the bank wins and you win in this situation. This is also how kind of shares and stocks work. You invest into a company, the company uses that money to grow their business, and if they're successful in that, they give you back what you had, plus a little bit of extra money as like a thank you for helping us become a better company. So in that example, it's obviously awesome, okay? Getting paid more money for not doing anything, big win. But it can go the other way. So when you take out a car loan or a mortgage, the bank has this cash, and you say, hey, I really want some, I need some in order to purchase this thing. So the bank gives you for this money, and then you're going to spend this on a house, right? But when the bank does this, they're taking on quite a bit of risk. The first kind of risk is that you might not pay them back. Something terrible might happen to you. You might decide to just live off the grid and steal that money, which I'm sure doesn't happen very often. But there is an inherent risk in lending someone so much money. So this is an incredible risky proposition for the bank, because it's such a huge amount of money. So because it's risky, they want you to pay it back with a little bit extra so they can justify taking that risk. But also, the bank, if they've given you that money, they can't do the things that we talked about in the last example. They can't spend that money on ads. They can't spend that money on more stores. So there's also an opportunity cost. So because they're investing in you, they've given you this money, they expect some returns back in order to cover what they could have made if they just spent it on ads. So over time, instead of you giving the bank this money back, it comes back to them as way more money. So over the life of a loan, you might pay more in interest than the actual amount that you took. So the bank, for taking that risk and for missing out on that opportunity, are making a lot of money back from you. Okay? So in a mathematics sense, when we're talking about how do I apply this in a test or something like that, there's only three things that really matter. The first one is how much money did you take, or how much money is that person using? And that will determine how much money is made. This is called the principal. Not as in your principal at school, but principal as in first, right? It is the amount of money that's agreed upon at the start of this agreement between you and the bank, or you and the stocks that you've bought. The second one is the percentage rate that's agreed upon. And we call this the rate, or it's just R. And this is just the percentage that it's going to increase over a period of time. Usually you'll see that it's written with a PA after it, and this means per annum. So you might make 4% per annum, or 4% on your initial investment every year. Finally, the last one is the amount of time that that person's using the money, right? The longer the bank can't get that money back, the more money they'll want back from you. So we call this N, and it's usually in years, but it can get a little bit tricky sometimes when they ask for money back in different time periods. So these three things work together, and it makes the formula incredibly easy. The formula for simple interest is that the interest earned is equal to the first thing, the principal, how much, multiplied by the rate, or the percentage, multiplied by how long. And that's all we've got to do, is interest is equal to principal times rate times N. We're just going to do one example before we get out of here. So if you invest $6,000 for 4 years, and you get an 8% return, or your rate is 8% per year, how much money did you make, or how much interest did you make? So all you've got to do here is 6,000 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 8%, or 0.08, either one. It doesn't matter which order you put them in, because multiplication works either way. So that's all you've got to put in your calculator. For this one, we've made $1,920, or $1,920. Pretty good deal. You didn't do anything to earn that money. You just left it there and it went up. Just make sure that we know that that's not how much money we've got in total now. That's just the extra cash that we made. So this number should always be higher than what we started with if we've been making money. So that our investment is now worth, or our total value is equal to the principal, what we put in, plus the interest. So in this example, our $6,000 plus our $1,900, we now have $7,920. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you later. I hope you guys found that helpful. Just a reminder that there are some free worksheets attached in the description below relating to this very topic. I also put up a PDF of the notes so you don't have to copy them from the video. If you do need any additional help, please don't be scared to send me an email. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel for some more quick math.